Hello and welcome to Local SEO Today. I'm Roger Murphy.
And I'm John Long.
We want to welcome you today to our podcast. We want to speak to business owners and really entrepreneurs on the topic, John, of negotiating. Really in life, everything is a negotiation, whether you negotiate with your child, your spouse, your significant other, buying a car,
any product or service.
And really, there are some tips and some tricks that we really can speak to in terms of how to get a better outcome of a negotiation.
Yeah, so today we're going to speak on 6 of the most, important negotiation tactics to really better yourself, right? And the first thing we're going to talk about is really putting yourself in the shoes of that person that you're trying to get that service or product from, right? So really putting yourself in their shoes and really understanding what are they after.
Exactly. Sort of like be empathetic because they've got a need, and if you have a service, really try and understand what's important to them.
Yeah. And really figure out what they're looking for, right? Is it a better quality? Is it a better service? Is it the price?
Sure.
Like figure out what is their actual, outcome.
Exactly.
Why are they in this negotiating process in the first place?
And little things you can do is ask even, what was your experience before?
Yes.
Who was your provider before? Whether it was services, whether it was product, find out what is their hot button, so to speak. How were they let down, or what went well before, right?
Exactly. Yeah. What do they like the best?
Yeah.
What are they looking for, and why didn't it work out?
It's true.
Right?
Yeah.
And see if that's in alignment with what you're able to offer.
Exactly.
Provide.
Because it's true. Most people, and I think I've seen the surveys just recently, the first thing people ask about in negotiation is how much.
Exactly.
And really, it shouldn't be about how much. And that's why you, as a negotiator at your end, as a business owner, if you're offering air conditioning services or plumbing services, whatever, real estate services, really uncover what their needs are right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So first, you ask the questions, align yourself, but the second thing to really consider is try to be the first one to make that offer. Instead of waiting for them to ask for a price, start with an offer and make sure the offer is higher than your best price.
Okay.
Right?
You gotta have wiggle room.
Wiggle room.
Yeah.
That's right.
Never go with your rock bottom. Everyone knows in life, no matter where you go in the world, and negotiating, that's part of the culture. You're expected to negotiate. The price always starts up here, and you work your way down to somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, and it's a great example. We were actually in Asia this past year, and we would go to a flea market.
Yes.
And flea markets, it's all about negotiations. And you never go with the first price.
No.
You know the prices are at least 50% off.
There you go. Yeah, that's right.
So, that's the whole, different cultures are different, but,
exactly.
When you're in that environment, negotiation is a part of buying a product.
That's
right?
true. And when you're on let's say the other side, actually either side of the negotiation, know what your walkaway is.
Yes.
And it's a matter of value your service, your product, whatever you're offering. Have a set of details around the offer that work for you. And here's what your expectations are, whether it's pricing, billing, the service, quantity, whatever it is. Know what your expectations are and hold to your principles, so to speak.
Yeah, and know what your bottom line costs are, right?
Yes.
So know what kind of margins you want to play with. And depending on what kind of day it is, or week or month, if you have quotas, you need to hit them.
That's it.
Right? The third thing is really contrast a good option with a bad option, right? So, if you think about it, you should give different options.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Never just stick with one outcome in price or one product or service. Like have different options.
And the idea there is that in negotiation, you have you get what you pay for in life. That is true. So if you go with low price only, something has to give there. So when you talk about super low price means super low quality, super low turnaround, really you're setting yourself up for disappointment, versus a good price that's fair price that has good value behind it because you get all the different things you're offering in your negotiation. But give them, listen, here's good and here's what happens if you don't so you get a second choice.
Yeah, and even if it is, all those things, but also education, your time, what is that worth?
Yes.
Right? If you're giving up something, maybe it is that education piece as well, right? Because you position yourself as the expert. So that's why people pay a premium for lawyers or going to a professional, right? They bill by the hour, right? So their time. And really, figure out what you want at the end before you even start, right? So what are you going in this with? And figure out why you want to do this whole process in the first place, right?
I remember I had a client years ago that it was just the economy was a certain way at a time. Prices were depressed for his type of service. It was actually a trucking company. He said, it's not even worth my time to move my vehicles for those prices. And I refused to do that. So he knew ahead of time, I'm not going to put my equipment out there just to trade dollars to keep these trucks moving. It's not even worth my time. So know ahead of time, to your point, John, what's your bottom line in terms of I'm running a business, I've got profit and loss, I've got expenses. No, here's what I need in any deal before I even want to negotiate.
But in the other end of things, there's also variable costs and fixed costs. So depending on the season, when you're going to make a lot of money. And if you want to just keep your employees employed during the slow period, you'll take on any job, even if that means a little bit of a loss, because during the cycle of when it's busy, that's when you make the most. You're going to make sure your staff is loyal to you and they're employed throughout the year.
Exactly. Very good point there, because in the big scheme of things, that's knowing ahead of time what you need or what you want. And that might be, to your point, I've got slow times of the year, I need to keep my staff with me, so therefore I want to keep them busy. Even though I'm not, making a ton of profit, I'm keeping them engaged, employed, and loyal.
Exactly. And I think the last thing we want to touch upon is, in the negotiation process, it's very difficult to know how their reaction is unless you meet them in person.
Face to face.
Face to face. Because, via email, via phone, via web conference, it's not the same.
That's right.
Because there's nuances when you're meeting someone in person to see, eye contact, the dress to impress, there's subtle gestures, things that you can actually pick out as a salesperson. So to negotiate in person, you're definitely going to have an advantage over someone that's just trying to sell someone over the phone.
One of the statistics we saw was in person, you have a 34% higher chance of closing a deal. So just think about that. And I know in our world, in many businesses, people are they're emailing, they're texting by phone. They don't want to particularly meet in person. That doesn't serve you and your business. If you've got a value to show them and educate them in person, you build a relationship, they understand, as you say, John, or as you say, you can sense how the conversation is going, see what's important to them. And again, you have almost a third higher chance of getting the deal when you're face to face.
So I think in person makes sense for a higher ticket consulting service type business. It's a little bit, if you're a product, it's really price, right? Because anyone can surf around online and price around, shop around. But if in terms of negotiation, if you have the ability to meet them and they are within driving distance or whatever it may be, make sure you present yourself well. Spend that extra time, meet with them, and because they're going to feel loved, they're going to feel like you took that extra time to meet with me. And they will reward you at the end.
And personal experience in our business, in our world of optimization for Google, I have many clients surprised that, you'll come and see me, because most people in this business, in this industry, they just want to do it by email and share a screen, etc. They don't even want to leave their little office. So the idea of if you have a business and it's in your business model to get face to face, it's way, way better, and it just shows that you're serious about your business.
Well, thanks a lot, Roger.
John, thank you for your time. Well, thank you for watching us today. We'll see you again at Local SEO.